I want to start by saying it's not how Jeffrey died, but it's how he lived. And we need to get to the bottom of everybody who was involved with that, starting with Ghislaine Maxwell and going along the lines there.
Yeah, the reason she wanted to write the book primarily was to help other victims of sexual abuse, not just Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein's victims, but anyone who'd been coerced into a sexual situation that they didn't want to be part of. She wanted those people to feel less alone, and she writes about this in the book, that if she could help one person, the book would be a success. And he still denies what is in this book, we should say. Um, but it's not too late. He could continue, leave aside the things he's accused of with Virginia. He could still come forward. He was in those houses. He was on the island. He was in the private jet numerous times. Those private jets were remodeled to have bedrooms in them. They were flying sexual trafficking devices. That's what they were for. And Prince Andrew was in all of those places and saw things. He could still come forward and say to the authorities, I want to validate these women's experience. I have daughters. I think women should be believed. Do I think he's going to do that? No, but he could. And but nevertheless, she would have felt this was a victory, a step in the right direction. I mean, what we're watching is Prince Andrew's life is being eroded for his past behavior. And that's always what Virginia wanted, was to hold her abusers, people she'd been trafficked to, wealthy, powerful men, to be held to account, like you or I would be if we were accused of a crime. And so while he's not being tried in a court of law, his behavior is catching up with him.
What do you make of Prince Andrew's denial? Can you comment on that? You said you won't be silenced. He has been outspoken.
He knows what he's done, and he can attest to that. So
Can you repeat that? We can't hear you. Step up.
he knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it.
But what she always said to me was, I may not remember every date, every time, every day of the week, but when there's a man on top of you, raping you with his face 6 inches from your own, you remember that face. And time and again, she proved that out. Her lawyers worked with her very carefully. No, in both those cases, our current president, President Trump, and our former president, President Clinton, Clinton, she met at a dinner, in Epstein's orbit, never saw any wrongdoing. And the same with Trump. She did not meet him in Epstein's orbit. She met him at Mar-a-Lago Spa, which he owns, where she worked when she was 16, which is where Ghislaine Maxwell walked up to her in the spa and procured her for Epstein, deceived her into going to Epstein's house. And that very day, Ghislaine and Jeffrey sexually abused her. But as far as Donald Trump went, and we made this clear even when we announced the book, there's nothing in the book that implicates Donald Trump. The thing I would say about Donald Trump that was important to Virginia is that he campaigned for his return to the presidency in part on releasing the Epstein files. I was with Virginia in October, just weeks before the presidential election, and she felt incredibly validated by that, that a former president who was hoping to be president again was calling for, justice for these women. I don't know what's happened since, but that was something that was very important to Virginia, and she felt she was a fan of Donald Trump's because she thought he was on her side. But there's a hope that when they went in Manhattan, he didn't see it coming, and that there may be information that is in the Epstein files. I don't have any independent knowledge of what is in there and what isn't, but there's a hope. And Virginia asked it in the book, what happened to those videotapes? She'd always been told by Epstein the whole purpose of the videotapes was to have something on those men, have videotapes of them having sex with underage girls. That was the goal, so that he could use it for his own gain. So I don't know what's in them, but there's a reason that people want to know. And it's not a Democrat versus Republican issue. It's a human issue.
If you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe to Mirror Now.